Howdy Exiles, Demiurge here with my first ever Path of Exile 2 video. Today I'd like to share my Smith of Kitava Thorns Bleed build, which I'm calling Kitava's Reflector. You can find links to the Mobalytics guide and the PoE2 forums post in the description below. Let's start off with equipment and stats. Alright, so for gear, we have the usual Crown of the Pale King to allow our thorns to retaliate against all hits. Briar Patch boots for that extra crit chance on thorns, a High Thorns shield, a High Thorns belt, and for the chest piece I went with Edern's tusks to allow our thorns hits to have a chance to inflict bleed stacks on hit. The reduced slowing potency on debuffs is nice as well, on top of the small thorns damage. For the weapon, since we're using a spear build, I opted with Scythe's Spear, mainly for the aggravate on bleed chance. I'm not sure if the 25% chance to cause bleeding on hit actually applies to Thorns hits. I know it applies for any skill hits, any weapon hits, but I'm not sure if it applies to Thorns. So if you tested this yourself, or if you verified this yourself, please feel free to leave in the comments. Let me know. For the gloves, I socketed a Wolf Talisman, just to have a little bit more bleed damage. Alright, for the stats, as you can see, I have a very small amount of armor. I'm not as tanky as I used to be. I used to have like around 67% armor. Now I'm down to 25%, just downgraded my armor a whole bunch, essentially, and my gloves changed at some point as well. But yeah, pretty much capped out on resistances. I'd like to bring these up a bit more. Maybe get cold and lightning to 80% and fire res a bit more, a bit higher. Chaos res definitely needs some work. You can see I have some empty slots over here. I'm waiting to farm some more exalts to buy Takati soul cores for the chaos resistance. But yeah, this is how much life I have at the moment. Armor, ES, block chance is close to 75. Could be better, but for now it's there. Thorns damage, that's Thorns damage at the moment without scavenge plating, with a crit chance and crit damage bonus. Let's talk about skill gems. Disengage is primarily here for evasive maneuvers, dodging, and also it's one of my primary ways to move around and back hop. I like to sometimes just back hop like this, combine with rake to move around. It's a nice little trick. I like to compare it to back hopping with a gun lance in Monster Hunter. I could of course use shield charge here, but I'm a big fan of being able to just hop over mobs and packs during combat. You know, I don't need to stop midway when I bump into something, which to me is an advantage. Rake is the primary skill to proc Thorns damage through Quill Burst and Barb supports. And I've added Stomping Ground here just to do a little bit of extra strength-based damage whenever we use the skill. Deep Cuts might not be needed anymore. This, I believe, only applies the extra bleeding damage on the skill itself, not on the Thorns procs. So I might just remove this and put Martial Tempo here instead so we can attack faster with Rake. Blood Hunt is optional, but I like having it as sort of like a finisher. It is meant to be a finisher, it seems. So I kind of just like having it there against targets that are high on blood loss. And we have Execute, Bloodlust, and Exploit Weakness supports to sort of help boost its base damage. None of those scale the explosion damage, I believe. Yeah, you cannot scale the 25% of consumed blood loss, but they'll at least scale the base attack damage of the skill. Bloodlust is there to forcefully remove bleed stacks and to deal more damage, and Exploit Weakness is there to remove armor break, which we will need to remove anyways during unique fights, so we could refresh our scavenged plating stacks through Resonating Shield. Next up we have Resonating Shield, which is our primary way to break armor. This does like an AoE ring around you to break armor of whatever's nearby. I've added Demolisher to just increase its base armor break value, since this is already less efficient at breaking armor compared to the Armor Breaker skill for maces. Armor Explosion is there to cause a bit of extra fire damage whenever things around us have their armor broken, and magnified effect just increases the radius of the skill. Herald of Blood, by far my favorite herald in terms of visual effects. This is here mainly to destroy corpses. The damage, I haven't really seen this skill proc a lot of damage whenever things explode. Granted, they can clear packs. The explosions can clear packs if they're low enough on HP, which is why I have Deadly Herald here and Brutality just to give it a bit more physical damage. Hemok Crystals is a nice extra visual effect, just to have little globules of blood crystals float around, and after a short delay, they'll explode themselves. The damage from this is very low, though, considering the bleed. The bleed isn't very optimized for this build just yet. And finally, we have Scavenged Plating. This is the way to increase our Thorns damage whenever we break enemy armor. This is great to have, and this is the reason why I'm removing armor break using Blood Hunt during unique fights, whenever I remember to do so. I don't always remember to do that, but whenever I do, yeah, that's why Blood Hunt is there. This skill has precision support for extra accuracy with hits, Thorn Skin just there for more Thorns damage, and then Persistence, which allows the skill to have 11.2 seconds instead of 8 for Scavenged Plating stacks. Alright, so for the passive tree, let's start with the Ascendancy here. For Blacksmith of Kitava, I've only done 2 Ascendancy trials so far. The points I've spent to invest in Coal Stoker and against the Anvil. Temper Weapon is kind of a meme right now, but they did kind of improve it. We have up to 12 strikes now with Tempered Weapon. The animation time is also 25% faster, which is kind of nice. It's overall nice to have, especially when you have like a bit of downtime when the boss starts spawning. Coal Stoker is great. This allows us to just focus on fire resistance and gear. Effectively, half of our fire resistance gets applied to cold and lightning res, which is overall amazing, in my opinion. Eventually, when I get my 3rd trial completed, I'll get fire resistance here and forged in flame, so we could apply more cold and lightning caps, essentially, based on our fire resistance overcap modifiers. Well, I'll tie that in later with unnatural resilience down there. But this is what the passive tree looks like at the moment. As you can see, I've pathed down here to get cruel methods just for a bit of extra armor break, extra physical damage. And the important part here is Lay Siege, so we can get % of damage per block chance. And from here, I picked up Vengeance here, which allows our Thorns to leech. Voracious, which gives us a little bit of instant leech whenever we deal Thorns damage. And, of course, down here, to get Goring and Fast Metabolism. For 2 points, these 2 nodes give you, what is it, like 50% physical damage, which is great. And a bit of leech as well. So, yeah, that's where I am at with leech currently. But for now, let's talk about unnatural resilience. This is a great node to have with the Smith of Kitava, especially when you're trying to build a tanky smith. It allows you to get 1% more maximum fire res for every 40% uncapped resistance, which should stack with Forged in Flame here. So you could also increase your cold and lightning caps as you're adding more fire resistance. Alright, Vigilance is nice to have for the block chance. The 6 life gained on block is minuscule. I barely feel it. My potion does more healing than this, but it's mainly there for the block chance. This is like 22% block chance for 3 points, and it's on the way. Great to have. Extra stun threshold is always nice to have, along with some HP and some strength. But the main reason why I path this way is to get to this cluster here. The extra Thorns damage is great, but also I prefer to be able to just ignore enemy armor whenever I deal Thorns damage. Since I'm already breaking armor very slowly, if it's like a rare or a unique monster, right? Resonating shield is less efficient at breaking armor compared to the regular armor break skill. So just having thorns ignore armor on hit is already great to have. But yeah, moving on, we have some crits here through Thornhide, increases our base thorn crit chance. More crit damage for thorns right there. These general crit nodes are actually great for thorns because other nodes, like let's say this one here, these nodes only apply crit to attacks. Thorns doesn't count as an attack, but these here are general crit nodes. So you get more crit damage and crit chance through those for thorns specifically. Physical damage is nice to have. Our thorns does deal physical damage, so this is just on the way. It's great to have there. Revenge. I might actually remove Revenge now that my armor has a lot less armor value. So this is less effective with my current armor piece. So I might refund that 1 point right there. But we mainly want the block chance, thorns damage, and more thorns damage on block from this cluster. Okay, moving on to the top here. Offensive stance is great as it stacks with Lace Siege. This gives us 2% more damage per chance to block instead of just 1%. And we get a bunch of block chance from this as well, just on the way to this node. For jewels, I pretty much just bought these bleeding magnitude and thorns damage jewels, these rubies. I have 3 of them, just for a bit of extra thorns damage, a bit of extra bleed damage as well. Those are nice to have, but not really necessary. I'm pretty sure there could be other better alternatives, but yeah, these are what I picked for now. On the Mobalytics guide, you'll see that I have a level 85 character sheet over there, and I pathed over here to get bloodletting, just to get more bleeding on my thorns hits. Yeah, that's pretty much the state of the build. Next level, I'm getting this. I think further levels after that, I'm going to path through here, following my build guide, and we'll see where I go from there. More leech is always nice, and it's close to this bleed cluster here. So those could be interesting to get. But yeah, this is currently the state of my passive tree. All right, time to go mapping. I've only done up to like tier 8, tier 9s at the moment. So for now, for this node, I'm just going to spend a tier 8 map. It's going to effectively be a tier 9 because of the irradiated modifier. But yeah, let's see what this build can do.
Ready. I need more time.
Just try it.
Up for another hunt, are you? I can't get. I can't yet. Spirit, guide us. Let's get a little more. Good right now.
That's what happens when you hold resonating shield for too long. There we go, all the way back there.
Just try it.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I need more time.
No doubt.
I can't yet. Come get me!
And that's it. This was my take on Thorn's bleed build through my Kitava's Reflector character. Thanks so much for watching. Please leave a like or dislike based on your thoughts on the video, and feel free to leave a comment. I'll see you next time. Stay sane, Exiles.